Divisional playoffs, national championship. I have a favorite bet for each game. If you want to listen to it, come on in. This is Money Pot. Welcome everybody back to another episode of the Money Pot podcast show. This is the flagship show. I am the host. I am the CEO. They call me Moss Money, and we are doing NFL Divisional Playoffs 2025 in the college football championship. I have a best bet for every single game this week. What a great time to bet this week. Can't get no better. When games on the line, stakes are high, stars show up. So let's talk about it. We're going to be using our handy dandy sports book. I've been a big fan of Bet Parks so far. They're treating me well in terms of me winning. So I'm going to keep the show moving along with that. Let's change the view a little bit. Yeah, get me a little bit bigger. You guys can see that. Actually, no, let me zoom in just a tad more, so we can do it. So we're going to start with um, NFL football. Want to start with this game. This line looked like it dropped. The Houston Texans traveling to KC. Line is -8.5. Money line is up the wazoo. We're talking, what was it? What was the money line? -480. I thought it was almost -5 something. -480, as it should be. The Chiefs should be favored pretty heavily here. The issue here is that the Chiefs haven't played a game in damn near a month, right? Nobody played in the last game. They're 15-1, but going to Arrowhead is there's no way around it. And the Houston Texans got I think what would be a surprise win against the Chargers last week. They had Herbert turn the ball over 4 times. That defense showed out and showed up. And C.J. Stroud had one of his better games. I think this game's going to be a lot closer. Just you guys need to understand the Chiefs don't cover games. Let's look it up real quick. Kansas City Chiefs ATS 2024. Let's see what it is. They're 7-9-1 against the spread this season. So which is not really that good. They don't cover. Like they they just don't cover games. At home, they're, let's see, 1-1, 2-1. No, that's still 2-1. Let me see. 2-3. 2-5. 3-5. They're 3-5 at home, covering the spread. Let's look at spreads over a touchdown. Have they covered? One push against the Chargers. -8.5 against the Raiders. -9 against Tampa. -7 against Denver. Didn't cover. -10.5 against Carolina. Didn't cover. -13.5 against the Raiders, again, didn't cover. So they haven't covered one spread over a touchdown this year. Not one spread. So take that with a grain of salt. I would lean here Houston. I think Houston shows up a little bit. And this is where my best bet comes in, right? When you look at this Houston team, the way they go, you would think it'd be the running game, but I went back and checked. And what's his name? Why can't I think of his name off the top of my head? Mixon. Joe Mixon, running back for the Houston Texans, has played the Kansas City Chiefs 4 times, only scored once. So running the ball is really not going to be the way. I think the way is through the air, and that tells me Nico Collins needs to have it for the Houston Texans to be in this game. 2 things need to happen, right? C.J. Stroud needs to have a good game. There's no ifs, ands, buts about it. If C.J. Stroud does not have a good game, the Texans got no chance. And if C.J. Stroud has a good game, that means Nico Collins has a good game. They've been decimated by receiver. We all know about Tank Dell that went out just recently. So it's all they have. So with that being said, they played the Chiefs earlier. Nico Collins had 6 catches in that game. I think he has to have almost 8 to 10 catches in this game for them to have a chance. I like Nico Collins over his receptions total once I get to it. Sorry, because I'm zoomed in here, taking a little bit of time. Most receiving yards. Here we go. So I like over 6.5 at the even number at plus 100. He's got to get him the ball. And that's got to be early and often. And that's the only way that the Texans, to me, have a chance in this game. I don't think they're going to be able to run the ball with Mixon. He's going to control the ball, but I think Mixon may get like 20 carries for like maybe like 60 something yards. They're going to have to go through the air. I like, if that's the case, you have to go with your number one receiver. I think Nico Collins gets it done. I think he gets almost 7 to 8 catches for maybe close to a buck. He's been hot last 2 games, scored in both last 2 games in the playoffs and then the game before that. So that rapport is coming back. I'm trying to think who else were they missing from that Texans team. Tank Dell got hurt, and who was the other receiver? There was another receiver that went down for them. Let me check that out real quick, just to make sure that I'm sure of what I'm saying. It was C.J. Stroud. Mixon has a little bit of ankle injury. It wasn't Woods. C.J. Stroud. Oh, no, Tank. It was Tank Dell. And who was the other receiver? I thought there was another receiver that got hurt. Maybe it was just Tank Dell. Huh. Thought it was somebody else. I mean, it was Nico, I guess, early in the year, and Tank held it down. But I thought it was somebody else. Oh, Diggs. That's what it was. Stephon Diggs. So, yeah, I like this play a lot. This would be a top play for me for this game. There's other plays like betting the Houston Texans. Not a lot of people won't think during the game. I would probably bet Houston Texans first half or first half under. In that game, I think it'll be a tight game, but give me Nico Collins over 6.5. Nico Collins last 4 games, 7 receptions, 5, 3, and 7. So he's only hit this twice. 7 catches for 122 yards against a really good Chargers defense. And then against Tennessee, where he really didn't play that much, didn't really need him. At Tennessee, 5 catches. Then Baltimore, 3 catches, and then back again against KC. He had 7 catches for 60 yards. So I think he matches that and then some. It wouldn't surprise me if he scores in this game, honestly. I don't know how they're going to score. They're going to have to find different ways on how to score here. All right, let's go to the next game. These are Saturday games, by the way. Just want to make sure that we know. Next Saturday game, would that be that Washington and Detroit Lions game? Really big game. I got a really good bet here. Let's go this way because this is taking too long. There we go. All right. Minus 9.5. I mean, it's granted. The Detroit Lions look like the best team in the league, especially in the NFC right here. Line is minus 9.5. Like I said, Detroit Lions money line minus 560. So I was trying to figure a way of how to bet this game, and I think I have this way of how to bet this game. Over looks like it makes a lot of sense, but when you look at and think about how this game is going to play out, Detroit more likely is going to be leading, and going to be leading by a lot, or they're always going to be up where Washington's kind of trailing. I'm not sure when we're ever going to see Washington maybe leading in this game. So if they're always playing for behind, what does that mean? That Washington's more likely going to have to throw to keep up. This is what Detroit does. They get out. They either get in shootouts or they get out fast. Let's look back real quick at some of these stats. So we already know they beat the bullshit out of the Vikings. They were up 9-6 in the first half against San Fran. Shootout. They were up 21-13. Against the Bears, they were up 27-14. Against the Bills, which they lost, they were down 21-7. And then against the Packers, they were up 17-7. This is what I mean. They play from ahead. And all those games I just mentioned, and 4 out of the 5 games I just mentioned, they've been playing from ahead. So other teams have to pass just to keep up. And with that being said, the Commanders don't have much to pass to. Zach Ertz has a rib injury. They got Scary Terry. But then their running backs will be playing, I think, a part in this game. And I also think another sneaky player is the other tight end, backup tight end, Sanu. I believe he is going to be playing in this game. With Ertz having a rib injury, I could see Sanu getting some touches here. He's not in here to bet, but that's something to check out for a live bet. But what I'm looking at is the running backs here for the Washington Commanders. You got Austin Eckler and Robinson. What I'm looking at is actually Robinson, because I think that even though Eckler's their third down back and he's their receiving back, Brian Robinson Jr. is also part of the actual passing game for the Washington Commanders here and there. But when you look back at over 8.5 yards, that's literally for Brian Robinson in a shootout type game to literally get one catch. I understand they're not going to go completely away from the run. I don't think Brian Robinson is going to be off for every third down, maybe later in the third or fourth quarter. But believe me, they're going to get him the ball and they're going to get him catches some way or form to get him involved into the game. He had 4 catches and 22 yards against Tampa, 1 catch and 6 yards against Dallas, 2 catches for 9 yards against Atlanta, 2 catches and 17 yards against the Eagles, and 3 catches against New Orleans for 22 yards. So out of the last 5 games, he's hit this number 4. I absolutely love this bet. This might be my biggest bet of the week. I think this is a gem. I think this is underrated. I think he gets at least 2 to 3 catches and at least 15 or almost 20 yards on a chance he breaks one on like a screen and something where he takes it to distance, and he's been known to do that. And the Detroit Lions have been susceptible to giving up a big play to a running back for a long rush or a long run. When you look back at the Detroit Lions, I'm going to keep giving you numbers here, man, because I think it's really warranted for you guys to check this bet out. Against the Vikings, and a game where they did play their defense, Jones had 5 catches for 30 yards. Akers had 2 catches for 4 yards. That's a combine of 34 yards. Against the Niners, they had their backup running back in, Garando. Garando had 4 catches for 65 yards. Against the Bears, Mr. Swift had 3 catches for 33 yards. Against the Bills, Mr. Cook, 1 catch, 28 yards. Against the Packers, we can keep going. And this is where those injuries kind of catch up with Detroit. Right there, that's when it stops. Josh Jacobs didn't have a catch in that game. So, and let's go back to the Bears again. Right before that, Swift had 2 catches for 35 yards. So when you look at the last, I don't want to go too far back, but we could. But when you look at the last 4 games, the last 5 games, 4 of those running backs, whether it be by committee or more or just by the one, the lead running back got over 8.5 yards. So I absolutely love this bet. This will probably be my biggest bet of the week. So those are the Friday games. From a side perspective, or how I would bet both these games, I would be looking at both dogs, to be honest with you. It's a lot of points, especially against the Chiefs. They just don't cover, right? The Chiefs don't really just cover big spreads. So I think the Texans have a good shot here, keeping this game somewhat close. And then it wouldn't surprise me if Detroit blows Washington out. I've thought Washington was a fraud all year long. They kind of proved me a little bit wrong there because they're in the divisional playoffs, and I'm not sure if anybody had them going this deep. They got their quarterback, which kind of sucks for the Eagles because he's in the division. But, I mean, sooner or later, we're going to hit. It's been a long time. I think they said over 7,000 days since the Washington Commanders won a playoff game. So that tells you a lot right there of how long it's been since Washington's had some success. So they're going to play carefree. I would be really shocked if they win here, but I know there's going to be a couple dogs riding on Washington for sure. All right, let's talk about your Philadelphia Eagles. Eagles are favorite -6. Line, money line is -286. Oh man, this is a tough one. I thought it was going to be kind of easy because when you look at the Rams just played on Monday night. They have a short week. They even play at home. So they had to travel from LA to Arizona because of the fires. And now, do they even go back home to LA? Some of those guys might have lost their homes. Some of those guys are helping out the community. And then, even they didn't go back home, you're not home, you're staying in Arizona. And then from Arizona, you have to fly out to the East Coast to Philly. And then you got to get ready for a game on Sunday, right? That has weather implementations as part of the forecast. It's supposed to be snowing on Sunday, cold wintry mix. So a lot of that is there's a lot to unpack there for the Rams. But the way I would bet this game is I think the Eagles were rusty last game. Obviously, a lot of conversation about the passing game and what Hurts looks like. But at the end of the day, we got the win, and that's all that matters. The Philadelphia Eagles are hosting another playoff game in the divisional playoffs for a chance to go to the NFC Championship, and that's all we want. We don't care if it's cool style points or not. Win the game. We'll figure all the X's and O's out later. So, with that being said, because of the weather, because of the way the Eagles are going to play, I think they start off again slow. I think this game is a lot tighter than the other game. Remember, Saquon ran all over them for 255 yards or whatever it is. I think they tighten that up. Or what I think the Rams do is I think they try to force Jalen to beat them. They're going to try to force Jalen to throw the ball, and then especially him going to throw the ball in the elements. I just don't see that happening. I think we'll go into our power run game, which includes Jalen Hurts. So with that being said, give me Jalen Hurts over 37 and a half yards rushing, and I'm double dipping. Give me Jalen Hurts over 49 and a half yards rushing. I think that Jalen has a pretty decent game with his legs in this game. I think he's going to take off when he doesn't see it. I think the weather is going to be a factor. I think RPO is going to be a factor. I think the Eagles can easily run their way into the Super Bowl. Actually, no. If they face Detroit, they're going to have to throw the ball. But if they don't, they can power run their way into the Super Bowl. And by doing that, they have to do it against one of the weaker teams in the league against the Russ. We saw that last game. I hope the Eagles don't get caught up with the hype to try to throw to give them the style points. To stick to what you know, run the fucking ball, right, and play defense, and you'll go into the NFC Championship and one game away from the Super Bowl, and that would be 2 Super Bowl appearances by Nick Sirianni in what 4 or 5 years. Come on, man, put some respect on Nick's name, man. Y'all need to put some respect on that man's name. But I absolutely love this bet. I think this is another great bet here. I think Jalen's going to be a gamer, and he's going to show up when his number's called. So give me Jalen Hurts over 37.5 and over 59.5. It wouldn't surprise me if he has like 70 yards in this game. I think he's going to use his legs a lot in this game. At 2-1 for him to get 50 yards, that's a steal. That is a steal. Great odds right there. That's a great bet here. I do think the Eagles win this game. I think it is going to be close. I think the line says that. I don't think there's going to be a lot of scoring in this game. I also like the under in the first half. I think it was 22.5 the last time I checked. Yeah. I like the under here at 22.5. I don't think there's going to be a lot of scoring. I think this game is going to be really, really tight. It's going to be kind of like an old school, NFC matchup. I can see this game being like 24-21, 24-20. 17-21. Like it's just going to be a tight game, and I think the elements will play a part in this game. So a lot of people are going to be the AJ Brown thing, but I don't think the Eagles need to change what they do. I mean, he's part of it, but I don't think they need to change what they do. Also love a little Milt Williams sack. He had 2 sacks last game. He flashed in the last game in the playoffs. So I think he gets a sack here at plus money. Gotta love that too as well. So absolutely, I do like the Eagles here though. Tougher game than I thought it was going to be when I sat down and thought about it. It's not as close a game as I thought it was going to be more of a blowout, but doesn't seem like that. All right, so for our last NFL game, the game of the week, pretty much, really, when you think about it. Baltimore Ravens versus the Buffalo Bills. Oh man, this joint's gonna be a banger. Like the over here as well. Man, give me the Ravens, bro. I just love the way that Lamar and them playing. I think they're on a mission this year. I think it shows. I mean, I think Josh Allen is going to win the MVP. They might be co-MVPs, but the way Baltimore is playing right now, I wouldn't want to get in front of that train. And I think they want to go to Kansas City and beat the Kansas City Chiefs because I think they believe they should have beat them before. They're going to go in there with a chip in their shoulder, and this is the second step or the first step to get there. So I like Baltimore straight up. I think Baltimore wins the game. And I think Lamar is going to be undenied of his track to get to the Super Bowl. I think the Ravens go to the Super Bowl. So I think the Ravens beat the Bills. And if the Ravens see the Chiefs, somebody pray for the Chiefs because I don't see how Lamar is letting them lose that game. I really don't. I think they can win in multiple ways. Is Zay Flowers back for this game? That'd be great. I didn't even check that. Is he still out? That's huge. But I mean, Buffalo's good though. Buffalo is good. Nah, he's not gonna be back. He ain't practice. Oh man, that is big. Did Baltimore and Buffalo play this year? I don't think so. I wonder what his record is. Let me double check that. Lamar Jackson stats. Definitely would look at Lamar's over rushing yards in this game too. Not bad numbers. They kind of keep him bottled up though. In 4 games against the Bills, he's got 6 touchdowns and 3 picks, 469 yards. It looks like his last game. Yeah, it was this year. They played this year. I know they played this year. I was about to say. Yeah, they beat him 35-10. They opened it up with it. See, yeah, Derek went Henry. It was in Baltimore, but once Derek ran for 90 yards, it was a wrap. Yeah, let's see. Let's see what the box score was. And Zay Flowers only had 1 catch and 10 yards for that. You know what I mean? Like it's just, and just the way that this Baltimore defense has been playing of late, I just, so this is a revenge spot for Buffalo. Now that you got to come to Buffalo and get a win, but I don't know. I don't think Buffalo has enough here. I don't. I really like the Ravens here. I think the Ravens is a good, really, really good bet. And them teased up. Yeah, give me Baltimore Ravens straight up at the -1. If you want to get greedy, what was that? Oh, okay. We want to get greedy. Yeah, I wouldn't even get greedy. It's not even worth it. Yeah, just give me the money line. Not even playing around. Just give me the money line at -117. Not even worth it. Not even worth it. Um, any game player props for this one? Again, following suit with um following suit with a what's his name? What hurts? I would go over here for Lamar. 49, 51. I don't know if I would double dip here with Lamar. I think they're gonna be very worried about that. But I think over 49 yards is too low. A little parlay here. Let's go. Lamar over 49.5 yards. And let's go. Let's go. Let's get Jalen in there. Let's be a decent bet. I'm gonna say it's gonna be almost 3-1. No, maybe even 4-1. Yeah, 4-1. Both of them to get over 50 yards rushing. Let's see what that look like. I mean, that's not bad. 25 to win you 100. If you guys got some bankroll management, put a buck on there. Almost, almost 450. So, really like this bet too. I'll be dropping this bet in for sure. It's a really good bet. Also want to do this feature bet for y'all. And this feature bet is on the Super Bowl matchup, actually. We're going to do the exact results plus 900. Give me the Ravens to beat the Lions in the Super Bowl and the Ravens to beat the Eagles. I think the Ravens get to the Super Bowl. I really do. I think it's obviously going to be one of these two teams. I mean, if the Commanders beat Detroit, I mean, I would be sick. That would be sick. I would not want to see the Commanders, right? No, who wants to see a Commanders Rams NFC Championship, right? NFL is all about storylines. These have a ton of storylines built into them. The two best teams going at it. Two black quarterbacks going at it. First time maybe in NFL history. I'll tell you what, man. If Baltimore and Philly, that's gonna be a hood ass Super Bowl. I don't know if the Super Bowl ready for that for them DEI hires. But yeah, I like both these bets. Like again, counting on your bankroll if you want to keep it light. There's a $25 bet. There's a $25 bet. Potential payout $600, $50 to win 6. You know what I mean? So that's not bad. It's not bad at all. And then if this does happen, you can hedge on the other side and guarantee yourself some money, right? Guaranteeing yourself some money. So those are the NFL bets that I like here. And we have one more game to talk about, and that is the college football championship. The Ohio State Buckeyes versus the Notre Dame Fighting Irish. Line is minus 9.5. This game looks like a mismatch, right? It really does. The game looks like a mismatch at minus 9.5. The Ohio State defense has been stellar. Riley Leonard has been surprisingly good for Notre Dame to keep them in the game with his legs and his arm. I think this game is going to be tight, man. I really do. I think this game is going to be tight. I think this game is going to be closer than what people think. I'm not sure of Ohio State. If you limit Ohio State's explosive plays, you can kind of bottle them up a little bit. Not saying that Notre Dame's going to win, but I just don't know if Notre Dame's going to lose by 10. The homie Be Humble has a future bet on Notre Dame winning the game at plus 1,300. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to follow suit. I'm going to ride with the homie. I'm going to ride with Notre Dame, actually, and I'm going to buy a point. No, that's too much juice. Look at that. Look how far that juice goes up with that 10.5. God damn. But then Notre Dame's, you know what? This is what I'm going to do. I'm gonna do the under. We'll buy a point for the 46.5. Damn, does Notre Dame score a lot of points? Is Notre Dame going to score here? That's what you got to ask your question. Can Notre Dame can't score with Ohio State, so Ohio State. I mean, they got to keep Ohio State bottled up. Man, it's such a tough game to call because it just seems like Ohio State. But it just seems like Ohio State. Can just score on anybody. But Notre Dame's, kind of showed that they can score too. You know what? I'm gonna with the original bet. I'm riding with the homie, like I said. Notre Dame plus the 9.5, man. Give me the fighting Irish. You know what I mean? Plus 9.5. I'll be shocked if they win the game though. What's the money line? Plus 325. There's gonna be some Notre Dame money line bets for sure. But I can't do it. I can't do that bet. So yeah. Give me the fighting Irish. All right, guys, folks, ladies, gentlemen, those are the best bets for this weekend for the divisional playoffs and the college championship. I'll give you some more bets from the Be Humble the Teaser Lord himself. He has a 3-leg teaser. He's taking the over in the Washington-Detroit game, under in the Rams and Philly game, and then over in the Baltimore and Ravens game. That's a 3-leg 10-point teaser. He's also taking these teasers, man. Chiefs, Lions, Eagles, and over in the Ravens and Bills game. It's a 4-team teaser. Another 4-team teaser. Houston, Washington, Rams, and Ravens. Man, and then his biggest bet of the week, 4-unit play here, KC and the Detroit Lions. He gets KC to -1 and the Detroit Lions to a -2. They're 7-point teasers. I really like that bet. I think that's a surefire bet. He should probably win that one. But that's why they call him the Lord of Teasers, man. His 4 bets are all teaser bets, no straight bets whatsoever, man. So thanks everybody for joining. Thanks everybody for watching. Make sure you hit that like, subscribe, leave a comment, and tell me what your best bet is. This is Moss Money. This is Money Pot. I will see you guys next week. Let's go. Good luck.